So we need to talk about the bus situation in Myanmar because it is absolutely crazy. In Yangon, people are falling off buses just because of the overcrowding. Some people are falling off buses just because they need to be able to get to breathe, to get some fresh air because it's that crowded. In Yangon, women are being groped on these buses. Children are being crushed on these buses, and men are having their phones and their personal items pickpocketed and stolen from them on this bus. It is absolutely crazy. There are also reports of buses hitting people and not even stopping to see if they're okay. Crazy. Hello everyone, it's Asian Anthony. And in this video, Yangon's bus system. So imagine you're a woman on the bus in Yangon. You're packed shoulder to shoulder. You have to keep your purse or your wallet and your phone close to you because there are thieves everywhere. So you're paranoid, you're always looking around. And you realize the person next to you is inappropriately touching you, but there are so many people on the bus that you don't know who is touching you. This is a daily risk for many women in Myanmar, and it is no better for the men or the few children that are on this bus because the bus system and the transportation in Myanmar is absolutely crazy. The first problem is the buses are ugly. They're also unclean. The buses need to be upgraded in every way. The number of passengers that ride the bus in 2026 has grown drastically. It's about 1.7 million people riding the bus in Myanmar. And the number of buses available has dropped drastically. They have lost 1,000 buses in the year of 2026. So 2025, July, the bus system, they have more buses and less people. July of 2026, they have less buses, but more people riding the bus. And also, you have to realize in downtown Yangon, where the most people live in all of Myanmar, motorbikes are mostly banned or just altogether banned. So a lot of people who don't have to ride the bus are now riding the bus because they're forced on the bus by this rule set by the government. So the buses are just completely overcrowded. To make the situation even worse, a staggering amount of people have died due to these bus drivers. In 2025, 23 people died because they were hit by the bus. Many of these people were not even checked on by the bus driver. And so this is just the reported deaths. 25 people or 23 people died in 2025, and that's the amount of people reported. In 2026, we don't know how many people have died because it's hard to keep stats on this type of phenomenon because the bus drivers aren't stopping. But the bus drivers, they are not bad people. Although it is worth mentioning that many of these bus drivers are accepting money from companies and factories to drive off route. So these bus drivers are given a route by the government. But the bus drivers don't always drive that route. They will change their route based on the preferences of companies and businesses. And this means that they are not public transportation, but they are indeed a private shuttle. So the people of Myanmar are paying taxes for these bus systems, and they're not being able to completely use these bus systems. The government of Myanmar has threatened a lot of these bus drivers by restricting their fuel. But it's really hard to catch a lot of these bus drivers because a lot of times these bus drivers, they don't have a lot of money and they are doing whatever they can to feed their family. So they're not bad people. Now you take this problem and you times it by 10 across all of Myanmar because the long distance buses or the express buses have the same problems, but they have also additional problems. For example, a lot of the long distance buses have to pass through these security checkpoints. A lot of times these security checkpoints are ran by resistance forces. And at these security checkpoints, sometimes there are intense ID checks. Sometimes there are random searches. You don't know when you're going to be searched. You don't know if you're going to have your luggage searched. And a lot of times there's extortion. So a lot of people are being forced to pay that should not have to pay. And that just means that the bus system going long distance is not as safe as it should be. And a lot of times, because of the conflict, these routes are being completely shut down. So no buses at all on some of these routes. You never know when a fight or a gun battle is going to break out. And so outside of these major cities, things get very different and difficult. And this is especially because of the fuel shortage. So when you leave the big cities of Myanmar, the fuel prices sometimes jump up. There are reports of people paying 2 to 3 times as much for fuel, and that is because of the fuel shortage that forces people to buy fuel on the black market. Now, because you're buying fuel on the black market, the price won't be the same. So a lot of people are price gouging, charging people more than they should charge. The bus system in Myanmar, in Yangon especially, is very important. Okay, and a big reason that we see these issues is because of the conflict, but also because we're not paying the bus drivers properly. The bus drivers need to be paid properly. So there's not any quick solutions, but here are a few solutions that I can think of. We need to get rid of the motorbike ban downtown Yangon, because when more people are forced to put down their motorbikes and get on the bus, this means more congestion on the streets. So there's more traffic jam on the streets. As a matter of fact, the average kilometers per hour has dropped by 15 kilometers per hour. So the average speed people were driving was 35 kilometers per hour. That was before the year 2003 when the motorbike ban came into play. But now, since the motorbike ban, the average kilometers per hour people are driving has dropped to about 15, okay? That's a pretty big drop. We also need cheap motorbikes, okay? Something like they have in Vietnam. They have a lot of cheap options for motorbikes, a lot of used motorbikes. We need more electric bicycles, okay? That's far more cheaper, and we need to make these more readily available. And honestly, I think the government should get into the business of making and supplying these electric bicycles, because it's quite easy, okay? In the future, we need more trains or a subway system or a railway system or something. This is not difficult. Almost every Southeast Asian country